Awareness Month, the impact of stress and the lack of sleep. It takes a heavy toll on our systems, often with dangerous consequences. Well, a few simple tweaks to our routine can help you retrain that brain to a healthier state. And here with a couple of tips to get us started is brain health researcher, Dr. Marc Milstein. Hey, good morning.
Thank you for having me. Great to be here.
So, listen, first question. We all run around like crazy, doing way too many things. How stressed are we as a nation?
Stress levels are definitely going up. It's something we have to be aware of, and we want to take some very concrete steps to lower those stress levels.
And what do you suppose it is that most of us are stressed over the greatest these days?
Everything from work life, family life, politics. We're just being hit with news, new information, stressful information coming from every different direction, 100 miles an hour, 100 different directions. So it just piles up, it adds up throughout the day.
And of course, on top of that, since we're running around doing so many things, working late, sometimes we don't get enough sleep. But can the lack of sleep really kind of have a big part of what happens with our stress levels?
Sleep and stress are very much related. If we're not getting good sleep, our stress levels go up. Sleep is a time when we help manage our stress. And so there is a quick tip I can give you to help you sleep.
Okay, so you're telling us that there are ways that we can get a handle on this.
Yes, and one of them is a bit surprising because there was a new discovery, a clump of brain cells right in the center of your brain that tells you when it's time to fall asleep. It's called your brain clock. It actually won the Nobel Prize, the discovery. And it turns out it tells you when it's time to fall asleep, when it's time to wake up. And what happens is that when you get out first thing in the morning into natural sunlight for just 5 or 10 minutes, you set that clock and it actually helps you fall asleep that night. So don't forget to get outside in the presence of natural sunlight. It helps you sleep at night.
So maybe before you rush into work, maybe get up right as the sun comes up, try and squeeze in that early morning walk or something before you go in.
Absolutely. It's very helpful for sleep.
So what if you wake up in the middle of the night and you're trying to get back to sleep? What are some tips?
So waking up in the middle of the night and not getting back to sleep, we also realize is stress. A big part of that is we're thinking about all the things we didn't do yesterday, all the things we have to do tomorrow. So let me ask you this question. How many cell phone numbers did you have memorized 15 years ago?
A lot.
How many
and I was a kid. Right?
And how many do you have memorized today?
Very few.
Very few. That is how our brain works. Your brain doesn't want to hold on to information. It wants to throw it away. You can use that to your advantage. There's been studies that have shown in the hour before bed, get out a pen and paper, write down all the things that are worrying you, stressing you out, all your anxious thoughts. Once your brain sees that information in front of you, it will let go of it. It will not wake you up in the middle of the night.
So you're saying more than just the to-do list for the next day. Write down the thoughts that we're most anxious about.
Absolutely. The stresses, the worries, get them on paper, let your brain see them. They will let go of, your brain will let go of them.
Because so much of that has to do with just, again, shutting off your brain. Now, there's been a lot of talk over the last couple of years about mindfulness. Define what that is for folks who don't know, and talk about how important that is to really kind of bringing it all down and centering yourself to be less stressed.
So mindfulness has moved from this new age mystical idea to mainstream science, mainstream medicine. At its essence, it's having your brain be in the present moment. And so there's many ways to do that. But if you're feeling your stress levels go up, we realize that being in the present moment, our stress levels go down. When we're thinking about the past or the future, we often think about stressful or anxious thoughts. So a quick tip to practice mindfulness, get your brain in the present moment, is just do this. Take a couple deep breaths, name 3 things you see, 3 things you hear, 3 things you smell. You're forcing your brain to be in the present moment. That is mindfulness.
Okay, again, all about bringing down the stress level. So say I'm going to work on Tuesday, folks out there going to work, they're sitting in a board meeting, any kind of meeting, and they're starting to get stressed. These are things that they can do right then and there.
It's a quick tip. You can use it in the moment, bring those cortisol levels, those stress levels down, really helps our health.
And of course, hard these days, we're either we're at home, the TV's on, you're listening to news, politics, we're in our cars, listening sometimes to the news, politics. How big a part of the politics and the news of today is that stressing people?
So we've never lived in a time where we have news coming at us 24 hours a day on our phones, on our TVs, on our tablets. It's just from every direction. We have to be aware of this. There's times in the day where we have to just take a break. Our phones are incredible, they're amazing, they're wonderful tools. but the stress levels can build up. Taking a few minutes each day, turning them off, taking a break, getting outside for some fresh air, really helpful in bringing those stress levels down, not allowing them to just pile up throughout the day.
I'm seeing a common denominator here about getting outside and just kind of bringing it back to ourselves. What about being focused? Of course, you know, if you're stressed, it's a little hard to be focused. So how can we get more focus so that we can concentrate on the work that we need to do?
So there was this fascinating study where they took a group of people, they had them all learn the same thing, and they gave them all a test. But half of them, they said, take your cell phone, put it in front of you, and turn it off. The other half, they said, we're going to take your phone and put it in the other room.
Right.
Who do you think did better?
I'm going to say the folks that had their phone in a different room.
The people who had their phone in the other room, on average, did 20% better. Your phone, even if it's off and in front of you, is distracting. You can't stop thinking, did I miss a message? Did I get a tweet? And so being aware that how distracting these devices are, they're very addicting and distracting. They're wonderful tools, but if you really need to focus, maybe it's time to have that phone out of sight so it's out of mind so you can really focus, even for a couple moments during the day.
Is there any one group of people out there that you would say is more distracted by their cell phones? Is it business people? Is it teenagers, kids, high schoolers? Who's distracted the most?
We're seeing it's across the board. That the cell phone is highly addictive, very distracting. It can be very distracting for all ages, and being aware of that it can be very important.
All the things that you say almost seems like it's a good ad for the National Park Service.
Right,
Put your phone away and just go for a good walk.
Right, at least for a few minutes during the day.
Well, great. And of course, at some point when you just can't cope anymore, that's the time to seek professional help.
Definitely, that's a very important message. That if it's getting overwhelming, you're having trouble getting through the day, always reaching out and seeking help.
Great. Thank you very much, Dr. Marc Milstein.